All right, we are recording. Thank you, Natasha, for agreeing to be interviewed today for the Cultural Master Plan. And I've got about 8 or 9 questions I'd like to ask you. And the first one is, you could tell us a little bit about what you do for a living and for recreation, including any artistic and cultural type activities you engage
All right. Well, I am a certified or holistic nutritionist as well as personal trainer. And right now, a lot of my work consists of private practice, doing a lot of one on one type things, from cooking classes to mentoring kids. Also, just doing private nutrition consultations and assessments.
in.
I also give classes and workshops as well too, mostly on Bowen. I have done one or two in the city at yoga studios,
Right.
and I am looking to get a little bit more into helping groups and populations. Just trying to figure out ways to bring healthy eating and food knowledge to more groups of people. Groups of kids, groups of adults, that type of thing.
Mhm.
And I tend to find that like a lot of mothers with young families tend to have a lot of question about nutrition, and we do also have a lot of people who very much like outdoor sports, and so I get a lot of people asking, how do I take my performance nutrition to the next level, that type of thing, and also just trying to find ways to bring more good food to Bowen so that we all have access to it.
Right.
For fun, I really like to just be outside in any way that I can. I like to hike, I like to run, I like to ride horses, like to be around horses, take care of horses. A lot to do with that.
Mhm.
Like to do biking as well too, and canoeing, kayaking, that type of thing. Yeah, and also have gatherings surrounded around healthy food and coming together over healthy food and community.
Great. You're a culinary artist.
I try. This is my palate.
Right, exactly. Um, Now, how long have you been on Bowen, and what brought you here?
It's been about 2.5 years. I originally came over for a job interview to help, like nannying and doing some cooking around the house, that type of thing.
Hmm. And you stayed.
And I stayed.
Great. So tell us a story of one of your most memorable uh, events on Bowen that you participated in of an artistic or cultural nature, either as a performer or as an audience member.
Mm, well, I was in the fashion show for Movement, and it was neat because it was held right inside the art gallery. And Amrita also encouraged us to do a little bit of give a little bit of a presentation of whatever we are about. And I gave a little demo about stretching and important muscles in the body, and then we had other people showing off their dance or showing off their art. And it was a lot of fun too. The music was going, everybody was rooting us on, and so it was just neat to see that mix of like fashion and style and art, and also just somebody who has such a great clothing line here on the island, and just how she's getting it out there.
Hmm. Great. Now, I think you indicated that you sing
To myself.
just to yourself.
Yeah.
Any other musical or artistic things that you play around at?
I definitely like to do a lot of drawing and sketching, that type of thing, but I'm just kind of at a point where I'm trying to get my business going.
Right.
And so even
That
though I
doesn't
would
leave a lot
love
of
to,
time for.
it doesn't leave too much time for artistic pursuits.
Yeah.
I am definitely trying to see if there are ways that I can combine the two.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to draw more diagrams and create more infograms for my classes. So combine the information with drawings that I do myself.
Right. When you are at your most creative, what are you doing?
I'm usually sitting on the deck by the ocean, just making connections, whether it be people or filling in gaps in my knowledge or planning out workshops and seminars. So usually relaxed in nature and planning and connecting tend to be my favorite.
Okay, great. What is holding you back from participating in or attending more creative and artistic activities?
I've
Other than the fact that you don't have time.
well, kind of like the time and money thing is very much a correlation.
Yeah.
Like if I had if I was just working a little bit more, I feel like I would be able to do that. I mean, like, I definitely don't feel like I'm struggling, but I'm not really getting ahead as like, a single person new on Bowen, like
Sure.
I'm doing this mostly myself and, also trying to, maintain a nice and clean household, have healthy food and progressing in my business and not neglecting my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I feel if the money thing would come up a little bit, it would save time
Right.
for everything else.
So are you like a theater or concert goer?
I do when I have
When you can
time and
when
money.
you have time and money.
Yeah.
And what kind of events do you like to go to?
Really like to dance some more. Like, get something that had like I do very much also enjoy just kind of like live acoustic shows and everybody coming around and sharing. But I grew up in Toronto and in and around Toronto, so we had access to really nice like dance music, really nice beat, like really nice strong dance beat type of thing. And
Yep.
if there was a place I could dance more to that, I would definitely go.
Great. When you think of arts and culture on Bowen, what person or place comes first to mind?
Art specific.
Oh, that's interesting. That's the first time we've had that answer.
That's where the show is usually held, the fashion show for movement type of thing.
Right. Rather than at the gallery.
I thought that was art specific gallery.
Art specific is the co-op. It's about 3 doors down from the gallery.
Oh, okay. I think it's also because I really like the name. Like it's the play on words type of thing. That type of thing tends to stick out in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like art specific as well. I'm involved with the gallery, of course, but I like art specific because it's a co-op, because it's basically an opportunity for artists to kind of sell their wares without having to pay a huge chunk to a middleman. Culturally, what do you think most differentiates us from Vancouver?
Less variety.
Mm-hmm. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
It's both, I think.
Mm-hmm. So you're tempted to try things here because you don't have as much to choose from, so maybe you'll try something that otherwise you wouldn't have discovered as something you might enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh, there's something new. All right, I'll try it because it's something new on Bowen.
Yeah. One of the things that people have identified about Bowen, which is also an advantage and a disadvantage, is that if you're really interested in something, you can usually make it happen on Bowen as long as you're willing to do all the work. Because like in terms of trying to get noticed in Vancouver, you just can't do it. There's just so many things going on. Whereas if you put 20 posters up around Bowen Island in enough time, and you mention it in the forum, and you then you can usually get as many people as you would likely get if you had a formal marketing and promotion campaign. But the problem with that is that it doesn't come with any money attached to it. You don't have any resources, and so generally speaking, you're limited to what you can do voluntarily and to what other volunteers you can rope in. A lot of artists have been saying, we're just burned out from being asked to give our stuff for free. Sure, it's for good causes, but we have to eat too,
As well, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think has changed the most since you arrived? You haven't been here that long, but
I would say that I feel a lot more easeful here. Like it's not a big stressful commute to go and do things. I don't have to push by 1,000 people to get to the train station to be transported.
yeah,
I just this is an example of when a lack of variety is good, because it takes a lot of the guesswork and decision making out of things. It's like, okay, well, if I want to go eat, there's 5 places to choose from instead of 55 places, So I did hear it once say that choice can be the author of sadness, because you don't think something like what you got is fine if you don't know any different.
Yeah.
And but I kind of feel like it's almost been backwards, is since I have lived near Toronto and have lived in Vancouver, I can see how much too much choice is overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I feel being here, it's just been like, all right, there's a place, there's a groove. It's easy to see, it's easy to figure out. So I can jump into that stream if I choose to.
Are there any changes you sense are happening on Bowen now, that either for the better or for the worse?
I am noticing that there is a lot of people that are interested in alternative health. A lot of people interested in preventative. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here in a yoga studio right now that offers a couple classes a day is showing that people are interested in alternative healthcare and preventative as well too. And I have noticed a lot of people around their 30s coming here, and a lot of the ones I have known who have been here for over a year, they're actually looking at moving and buying property instead of just renting anymore.
Right.
So I think that there are a lot of people kind of in my age category liking this slower pace as well too. And I have had a lot of people who've been here for a while who have been like, I'm happier you guys are here and that you're bringing new energy and new ideas to the island.
Yeah.
And so I see a change in that for the better. I would still absolutely love to see some places that could have like all organic food, nice vegan food, that type of thing. But I have talked to some of the local business owners who have some products that are organic, and they do just mention about, like it's expensive enough to buy organic in the city, but then you add on the island tax, it makes it really hard.
Yeah.
For me, that just encourages me to try and educate more people about why this food is more expensive and why we need it.
Right.
And also just encourage people to buy from the farmers who are doing things right on Bowen, and just encourage people to get the word out there of people who are doing good things and support people who are doing good things.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't think you would find a lot of people in their 30s moving to Vancouver. It's just like price prohibitive.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's starting to happen here, where that kind of dip that we had between the newlyweds and the nearly deads, is that gap in between those two age groups is finally starting to close just a little bit, which is, I think, very healthy for the community. Is there a particular type of artistic or cultural activity you'd like to learn more about? If you had time.
It's usually somewhere between painting or learning more traditional methods of food prep, like how to make tinctures, how to make preserves, how to ferment bread and make sourdough. Just anything that kind of honors the traditional ways of food prep and also helps us get more out of what we have. Like preserving is great for when we have an abundance of crops. Um, nature is not always going to give you just what you need. She's going to give you whatever she makes.
Exactly.
And so it's up to you to make the best of it. So just encouraging myself and other people to make the most of what we do have on this island, to kind of jump over that whole fairy tax on things.
Right. All right. And then the last question is, we're in the process of trying to put together a plan that will last 10 years, up to 10 years, that will help artists and both professional and amateur, and people who want to see and engage more in arts and cultural activities to do so. Any other thoughts on what you think might be priorities or ideas? Or
Well, I noticed we don't have anything like a Michael's on Bowen, like a store where you could buy like craft supplies and maybe also have like classes as well too. Like a little center where you could go in and buy all your supplies and then also maybe do like a drop-in painting class or do like a sketching class type of thing.
Right.
I think sometimes it can be a little intimidating to sign up for a class, but if you're able to go into a store to just pick out what you need, and then you could kind of see what other people are working on, that could start to take some of the initial angst out of things. So, not just a place to sell art, but a place to make art.
Right. Yeah, we've had a number of groups, a number of our interviewees have said, maybe what we need is just to know who else shares the same kind of amateur interests that we have, so that we can connect with them and we can kind of self-organize. But what can we do to move this forward? Can we kind of get together and do an excursion together, which may include going to a store and picking up the supplies that we need, or kind of having some self-organized event ourselves, maybe bring in somebody who knows a little bit more than we do.
Well, it might be a little easier if they maybe do like an event in town, like kind of, like go to one of these places and learn it, and then do like follow-up events on Bowen. Because, like, for example, if it's going to be like a learn to paint class, like you may need certain brushes, certain paints. People want to pick out different colors, different easels, all that type of thing. But once they kind of have their preliminary stuff, I think it'd be easier for them to pick out what they need, and also just know what the choices are as well too.
Great. Any other thoughts?
I think that's the bulk of them there.
All right, great. Thank you for your time today.
All right, thank you for asking.